The air at the corner of Elm and Maple was perpetually damp and smelled of pine needles and exhaust. It was 3:42 p.m., the sacred non-negotiable hour of the afternoon school run, and the atmosphere was already stretched thin. Bus 17, affectionately nicknamed the Behemoth by the younger students, pulled up with its familiar hydraulic hiss. Behind the wheel, Brenda Hollis executed the maneuver with the practiced precision of a seasoned combat pilot, stopping precisely after the yellow safety zone painted haphazardly on the curb. She wore the standard-issue navy jacket, slightly faded at the shoulders, and an expression that communicated exhaustion tempered by an iron will. For 3 years, Brenda had run the route flawlessly. But for the last 6 weeks, she'd been dealing with Valerie Hayes. Valerie, impeccably dressed in athleisure wear that cost more than Brenda's monthly car payment, considered the bus stop an inconvenience designed solely to slight her. Today, Valerie was radiating a particularly potent blend of impatience and righteous indignation. She stood next to her gleaming black SUV, tapping the toe of an expensive sneaker on the asphalt. Her eyes locked on the bus doors. As the children began their chaotic disembarkation, the tension in the parent huddle grew palpable. Everyone knew what was coming. It started not with a word, but with a noise. Valerie waited until her son, Julian, a pale, timid fourth grader clutching a binder like a shield, was safely on the pavement. Then she let out a loud, theatrical sigh that managed to be heard over the rumbling engine. Brenda opened the driver's side window, the sound of the pneumatic seal breaking like the starting gun of a duel. "Mrs. Hayes," Brenda said, her voice flat, the practiced monotone of someone who had done this 1,000 times. "Don't Mrs. Hayes me?" "Brenda!" Valerie snapped, stepping forward so quickly the other parents subtly shifted back. "We talked about this. The new stop location is unacceptable." "The new location," Brenda corrected patiently, "is the correct location, mandated by the district's updated safety guidelines. I cannot stop in the yellow loading zone anymore. You know that." "The yellow zone," Valerie scoffed, her voice rising, drawing the eyes of the remaining children on the bus. "It's 2 feet. 2 miserable feet farther from my car. My son has a slight limp today, if you hadn't noticed, and this is an undue hardship. I want to know the name of your supervisor, and I want an explanation for why you are deliberately making my afternoon harder." Brenda paused, adjusting the grip on her steering wheel. She felt the heat rising in her chest, but she knew the rules. Do not engage emotionally. "The district sent out the notification, Mrs. Hayes. It's for emergency access and visibility. I am adhering to policy, and I am not having this discussion at the bus stop. It delays the entire route." "Oh, it delays the route?" Valerie threw her hands up in an aggressive gesture. "You are delaying the route by being so pig-headed. You think you can hide behind your little rule book and inconvenience working parents who pay your salary? Julian, sweetie, come here." Julian flinched, pulling himself closer to his mother's leg. The surrounding parents, Liam, Maria, and old Mr. Chen, all looked down at their feet, a silent agreement forming that this was not their fight. Not yet, but the line had been crossed. Julian was now involved, and Valerie was escalating the conflict by invoking her perceived financial superiority. "Mrs. Hayes, if you have a complaint, you need to call transportation services. Not yell at me while I'm on the clock," Brenda said, her voice finally showing a slight tremor. She was trying to keep her composure, but the last 3 days of working a double shift to afford her mother's new prescription were catching up. The thought of losing this job, her only steady income, made her throat constrict. Valerie seemed to sense the vulnerability. She leaned in closer to the bus window, her voice dropping to a theatrical, menacing whisper that somehow carried further than her screams. "I will call them, Brenda, and I'm going to tell them that you are a dereliction of duty and, frankly, a danger to these children. You look exhausted. Are you even fit to drive? Have you been drinking? Because your erratic behavior and inability to follow basic civil requests suggest something is seriously wrong here." The whisper struck like a physical blow. "Have you been drinking?" That was a fireable offense, a career ender, and a flat-out lie. A collective gasp rippled through the parents. The accusation was too much. This wasn't about parking anymore. It was slander. A vicious character assassination happening in front of a dozen innocent children. Liam Miller was the first to move. He was a tall man, usually invisible, always absorbed in checking emails while waiting for his daughter, Chloe. He felt a cold clarity wash over him. Brenda was clearly being abused, falsely accused, and she had no real defense against a formal poisonous complaint. Without meeting anyone's eye, Liam subtly pulled his iPhone from his jacket pocket. He quickly unlocked it, navigated to the camera app, and hit the record button. He held the phone low, pretending to check his watch, the red light glowing almost invisibly beneath his sleeve. Maria, a fiery mother of twins who had been silently fuming, watched Liam. A flicker of recognition passed between them, a shared protective rage. Maria immediately followed suit, pulling her phone out and holding it openly now, tilting it slightly. If Valerie wants an audience, she's getting one. Valerie, fueled by the silence she mistook for submission, puffed out her chest. I want your supervisor's direct line now. I am not moving until you give it to me. And if you attempt to drive away, I will simply step in front of the wheels. Let's see how that looks on the police report, shall we? She took 2 dramatic, deliberate steps, positioning herself directly in front of the massive chrome grille of the behemoth. Brenda, her eyes wide with shock, slammed the gear into park. She was trapped. She felt the tears of sheer frustration sting her eyes. She can't win. This woman is going to cost me everything. Then she noticed the phones. Not just Liam's and Maria's, Mr. Chen, usually immobile, had his flip phone open, recording audio. 2 other dads, huddled near the oak tree, had their phones up. Every single parent still standing at the corner, 7 in total, was now filming Valerie Hayes, who stood oblivious, blocking a school bus and threatening the driver's livelihood. The silence that followed Valerie's threat was deafening, amplified by the dozens of small recording devices. The only sound was the deep, rhythmic idle of the bus engine. Valerie noticed the shift. Her eyes flicked up, taking in the scene. The row of stone-faced parents, their arms extended, the telltale gleam of their phone lenses, all focused on her. Her face, already contorted in a mask of fury, froze. The realization dawned she wasn't holding the power anymore. She was the one on stage, and the audience was hostile. She opened her mouth, perhaps to yell, perhaps to deny, but only a dry, rattling sound escaped. Brenda, the exhausted bus driver, watched the color drain from Valerie's face. A slow, chilling smile touched the corner of her lips. She didn't have to say a word. The power had shifted. She picked up the mic hanging by her seat, but instead of calling dispatch, she clicked the internal communication button and spoke into the cabin. Kids, listen up. Seems like we have a minor delay. Just want you all to know that your driver is doing her job. You are safe. I will be moving the bus as soon as the hazard is removed. She clicked the mic off. Looked Valerie Hayes dead in the eye, the camera lights reflecting in her own, and spoke loud enough for every recording device to catch it. A voice suddenly resonant with the authority of the law. You have exactly 10 seconds to step out of the road, or I will be calling 911 to report a hostage situation and aggravated endangerment of minors. The silence hung heavy, vibrating with the latent power of 7 recording devices. The 10-second countdown Brenda had issued felt less like a clock and more like a fuse burning down to an explosion. Valerie Hayes, paralyzed mid-threat, saw not a tired bus driver but the collective, unforgiving lens of the neighborhood scrutiny. Her meticulously curated image, the successful real estate investor's wife, the formidable PTO fundraiser, the woman who commanded respect, was disintegrating under the glare of their phone flashlights. Even in the afternoon sun, Brenda didn't flinch. Her hand rested on the large black handset for the 911 call, but her eyes never left Valerie's. 9 seconds. The rhythmic sigh of the bus's air brakes was the only sound. Valerie's mind raced, trapped between furious pride and sudden crushing panic. If the police arrived, if the children were delayed further, if this scene got reported, no amount of complaining to the superintendent could salvage it. She pictured the headline, Local Woman Blocks School Bus, Threatens Driver, Cited for Endangerment. Julian, her son, had scurried behind the safety of Liam Miller's SUV, his shoulders trembling. That was the final stinging reality check. She wasn't just embarrassing herself, she was traumatizing Julian. 5 seconds. With a sound that was a choked-off scream of pure, thwarted rage, Valerie lunged sideways, not toward the bus, but off the yellow line and onto the curb. She moved with the jerky, unnatural motion of a puppet whose strings had been cut. She had ceded the road, but not the war. "This is not over," she spat, her voice hoarse, her perfectly coiffed blonde hair slightly mussed. She yanked open the driver's side door of her Cadillac Escalade, threw herself inside, and slammed the door with a violence that shook the expensive chassis. Brenda watched her go, waiting until the SUV's taillights cleared the cross street before easing the behemoth back into gear. She took a deep breath, the rush of relief almost overwhelming her. She clicked the mic back on, her hand still slightly shaking. "All right, kids, we are rolling. Thank you for your patience." She pulled away, leaving the silent, scattered group of parents behind. The moment the bus's rumble faded, the dam of tension broke. Liam Miller lowered his iPhone, his thumb hovering over the stop recording button. Maria was already playing back her footage, her face pale with a mix of shock and exhilaration. "Oh my God, Liam, did you get the drinking part?" Maria whispered, her breath catching. "Every syllable," Liam confirmed, his voice low and tight. "And the part where she threatened to step in front of the wheels. That's battery 1. Endangering children, potentially." He wasn't a lawyer, but he knew defamation when he heard it, and he knew a felony threat when he saw one, Mr. Chen. A quiet immigrant who spoke very little English but understood injustice perfectly, walked over and nodded vigorously. He held up his phone, a battered relic with only an audio recording feature, and gave Liam a thumbs up. "We need to share this," Maria insisted, looking around at the small circle of allies. "She can't just go around doing that. Brenda is one of the kindest people. She helps my son, Leo, with his reading list every week. Valerie tried to ruin her life for 2 feet of pavement." Liam looked at the other parents, the silent consensus forming into action. He was a systems analyst, and his mind immediately turned to logistics and security. "Do not upload anything yet," Liam said, his voice dropping to the level of a strategic briefing. "We need to consolidate. Valerie is wealthy, and she will lawyer up the second her blood pressure drops below stroke level. If we upload 7 different videos, she can target us individually with takedown notices or worse. We need one unified, undeniable clip." He quickly created a shared folder link and then, more urgently, a group chat. He named it Bus 17 Defense Fund, Evidence Only. He added the 6 other parents who had been filming. "Upload your original file here," he instructed. "I'll edit the best version. One high-quality, high-impact clip with a clear timestamp and audio, and we'll decide what to do with it." Meanwhile, Valerie was white-knuckling the steering wheel, her Escalade hurtling through the neighborhood streets. She was shaking so violently the vibration massage seats couldn't calm her. The rage was still there, a hot, liquid poison in her veins, but it was now laced with a terrifying new element: exposure. She'd been seen. She'd been recorded. And she knew Liam Miller was a tech guy, the type who knew how to make things disappear, or worse, how to make things appear everywhere. She called her husband Marcus Hayes. The moment she reached their expansive driveway, "Marcus, they filmed me," she hissed into the Bluetooth, barely waiting for him to pick up. "Marcus!" A high-powered commercial developer sounded distracted. "Who filmed you?" "Valerie, I'm in a quarterly review. Can this wait 5 minutes?" "No." "The parents at the bus stop, that hag of a bus driver provoked me, and I lost my temper for a second, and now they have it all on video. You need to call Michael. Now. We need to issue a cease and desist immediately. Threaten defamation, whatever it takes to bury this." Marcus sighed, the sound heavy with annoyance. "Valerie, if you truly lost your temper and said something inflammatory in front of a school bus full of children, a cease and desist might only confirm the footage is authentic. Let me call Michael after this. Just tell me, what's the damage?" "What did you say?" I accused her of being a hazard. I said she looked tired. And she blocked the road. I told her I'd call 911 on her." Valerie shrieked, lying instinctively, minimizing her own culpability while amplifying her opponent's alleged offense. She was so focused on the conversation that she didn't notice the sudden, insistent beeping from her SUV's central console. It was a notification from the community Facebook group, the one she usually monitored for social leverage and neighborhood gossip. Marcus spoke again, his voice suddenly sharp. "Valerie, I have to go. My phone is blowing up." "What is—" "Wait a second." A dreadful chill seized Valerie. She grabbed her phone from the holder. Maria had been faster than Liam. She hadn't waited for consolidation. She had cropped the 45-second clip showing Valerie threatening Brenda's job, accusing her of drinking, and standing in front of the bus. She had uploaded it directly to the Maple Grove Community Forum with a simple, devastating caption. "Bus 17 driver harassed and threatened today. Our kids deserve better." The clip had been live for less than 7 minutes. Valerie scrolled down her feed. The reaction was volcanic. 4K views, 500 plus, comments, 300 shares. The comments weren't just angry, they were forensic. "Is that the Hayes Escalade? She lives on Willow Creek. I'm calling the school board right now. Someone needs to get this to her husband's company. He's Marcus Hayes at Global Tech, right?" Brenda's measured final threat. "You have exactly 10 seconds to step out of the road, or I will be calling 911 to report a hostage situation and aggravated endangerment of minors," had been immortalized as the soundbite of the day. Valerie's fingers, shaking too much to type a defense, tried to delete the video. She couldn't. It was Maria's post, and Maria was not her friend. As she watched the view count climb by the hundreds in real time, a text message from Marcus popped up not on the phone screen, but projected onto her dashboard display. "Cold and unforgiving, Marcus. Global Tech just tagged me in a comment thread about this video. Get home, now. We have a 5-alarm professional crisis. The social consequence was immediate. The financial consequence was inbound. And the collective retribution from the parents, whom she had always considered beneath her, had just hit the nuclear option. Valerie Hayes, the woman who thought she controlled the narrative, had just become the unwilling star of a viral spectacle. The Hayes Mansion, a fortress of glass and custom stone overlooking the Willow Creek golf course, felt less like a home and more like a besieged corporate headquarters. Marcus Hayes, CEO-level fury barely contained by his bespoke suit, was pacing the marble floor of his office, his profile lit by the cold glow of multiple monitor screens. Each screen displayed the same 45-second clip, now accompanied by local news chyrons. "School bus showdown, wealthy parent goes viral. A 5-alarm crisis, Valerie?" "This is a Category 5 hurricane," Marcus bit out, slamming his fist onto the glass desk. The sound made Valerie flinch, though she was still vibrating with residual anger and fear. Valerie sat stiffly on a leather chair, her defense mechanisms running on overdrive. "It's defamation. It's selective editing. I was simply protecting Julian from an overly aggressive civil servant. We need to sue the parents who posted it, Marcus." "Hit them with everything Michael's got." Marcus stopped pacing. He leaned over the desk, his face inches from hers. "Sue them for what? For recording you admitting on camera that you intended to obstruct a school bus? For recording you falsely accusing an employee of drunk driving? Valerie, the video is indisputable. Our lawyer, Michael, has been trying to get ahead of this, but it's already on Reddit, it's trending nationally, and my board has called an emergency session. They are concerned about the Global Tech brand association with civil aggression." He pulled up a spreadsheet showing a slight but immediate dip in his company's stock. "This isn't about 2 feet of pavement anymore. This is about millions of dollars and my reputation. We cannot fight the video. We have to discredit the source. The source is that bus driver, Brenda. She is the root of the problem," Valerie cried, seizing on the target. "No," Marcus said, shaking his head slowly. "The root is the parents who filmed you. Specifically, Liam Miller. He's the one collecting the data, the systems guy. If we can prove conspiracy or extortion, that they planned this to leverage us financially or professionally, we shift the narrative from your behavior to their calculated attack." They spent the next 2 hours on a conference call with Michael, their top litigator. The plan was brutal, swift, and highly expensive. Michael would contact the school district's legal counsel, threatening a massive civil suit over negligent hiring, failure to control employees, and allowing a hostile work environment to persist unless two things happened immediately. 1. Brenda Hollis was officially disciplined. And 2. The district issued a statement supporting the parents' right to voice concerns without fear of retaliation, a subtle dig at Brenda's 911 threat. The goal wasn't just to punish Brenda. It was to create a cloud of plausible doubt around her credibility and force the official bureaucracy to turn on her, neutralizing the wave of public sympathy. Meanwhile, Brenda was sitting in the quiet kitchen of her modest townhome, basking in the glow of unexpected solidarity. Her personal phone, which usually only buzzed with automated bill reminders, was exploding with texts. "We got your back, Brenda. We filmed everything. Liam, you were amazing. You stood up to her for all of us." Maria, she felt a gratitude so profound, it made her lightheaded. She was safe. Her job was secure. Justice, swift and undeniable, had been delivered by a collective of weary parents. The illusion of safety shattered precisely at 7 p.m. when her supervisor, Mr. Henderson, head of transportation, called. Henderson was a good man, but a man crushed by paperwork and political pressure. He sounded like he was reading an official statement from a bunker. "Brenda, I saw the video. Everyone has seen the video. It's bad, but I commend your restraint. However, the district legal team just got off a call with the Hayes' legal counsel. They are threatening us with a lawsuit that could bankrupt this district 10 times over." Brenda's stomach plummeted. "But I was the one threatened, Mr. Henderson. She blocked the road." "I know, Brenda, I know. But her lawyer is arguing that your final statement, the threat to call 911 and report her for aggravated endangerment, constitutes workplace intimidation and unprofessional conduct. And that technically the bus was stopped. That was self-defense. She threatened my job and stood in front of a 30-ton vehicle." Henderson took a deep, rattling breath. "Listen to me. The board cannot afford this fight. They are not firing you, but effective immediately. You are being placed on paid administrative leave pending a full internal investigation into the incident, specifically the interaction where you threatened police intervention. They are calling it a necessary measure to de-escalate the environment. It's a political sacrifice, Brenda. They're buying time to get the Hayeses off their back." The relief Brenda had felt hours earlier turned to ash in her mouth. Paid leave. It sounded neutral, but it was a muzzle. It was a formal acknowledgement that she, the victim, was also somehow culpable. She was being silenced and sidelined, precisely what Valerie had intended from the start. Across town, Liam and Maria were meeting in Liam's garage, staring at the consolidated footage. Liam had expertly stabilized the shaky clips, creating one high-definition, damning video file. Liam's phone chimed with a message from another parent. "Heard from a friend who works at the school office. Brenda was put on admin leave tonight. Effective immediately." Maria slammed her hand on the workbench. "Are you serious? She wins? We have absolute proof of her bullying, threats, and slander, and Brenda is the one who gets punished? This is insane." Liam felt the icy grip of reality tighten. He looked at the perfect, crystal-clear video on his laptop screen. It was powerful, but against the infinite resources of Marcus Hayes, a Facebook video was just noise. They didn't fire her. "That's the key," Liam muttered, tapping the screen. "They put her on paid leave. It looks like they took action without admitting Valerie was wrong. It's a legal maneuver to calm the donor. So what now? We lose, we apologize to her?" Maria scoffed. "No, we escalate," Liam said, his systems analyst brain clicking into crisis mode. Valerie tried to ruin Brenda's life by using the internal system. The district, the supervisors, the threats. We beat her with a viral video, but she used her husband's money to force the system to retaliate against Brenda. We need to go outside the system entirely. We need to go big. He looked at Maria, his eyes hard and resolute. "I have the name of a local investigative reporter. He loves stories about corporate corruption hitting local communities. We don't just upload this video to Facebook anymore. We feed the story, the video, Brenda's suspension, and Marcus Hayes' financial ties to the school board to the local evening news. If Valerie wants a crisis, we give her a nationally broadcast, professional, documented crisis." The initial victory had brought temporary justice, but the backlash brought a sobering reality. Money and power fought dirty. The parents had to unite and become professional adversaries, or Brenda would pay the ultimate price. Liam opened a new email draft. The subject line, Bus 17 Incident, the school district's cover-up. The email Liam Miller sent was a precision strike. It wasn't hysterical or emotional. It was documented fact. The subject line, Bus driver victim of cover-up after parent threatens job, was followed by 3 attachments: the consolidated HD video, a screenshot of the school district's internal memo confirming Brenda Hollis's administrative leave, and a public record listing Marcus Hayes' foundation as a key donor to the Maple Grove School Board's capital projects. The recipient, Mark Stevens, was the city's most feared and respected investigative journalist. Stevens usually hunted corruption tied to billion-dollar bids, but he recognized the potent narrative immediately: power versus the working class. This wasn't just local news. It was a perfect viral media storm. Stevens called Liam back 45 minutes later. "Mr. Miller, I've watched the video. This is gold, but we need the human element. We need the driver to speak, and we need to confirm the district connection. Can you deliver both?" Liam, sitting next to Maria in the tense quiet of his garage, looked at his co-conspirator. "We can deliver, but we need a guarantee of anonymity for the other parents who filmed. And we need to make sure Brenda is protected. My job is to protect the facts. Mr. Miller, if she speaks the truth protects her better than any lawyer right now. Get me the driver." Brenda was cleaning her kitchen for the 3rd time that day, the forced idleness of paid administrative leave feeling like a physical burden. Her mind raced with the fear that the investigation would find some clerical error, some forgotten rule, to justify a permanent termination. When Liam and Maria showed up on her porch, their faces tight with serious purpose, she invited them in hesitantly. They explained the new plan: the reporter, the news segment, the exposure of the Hayes' influence. "It's too much, kids," Brenda whispered, staring at her coffee cup. "I just want my job back. I don't want to be a local hero. I just want to drive my route. If I speak to the news, they'll say I violated my leave terms. They'll fire me for real." Maria knelt by her chair. "Brenda, they put you on leave because they were scared of the Hayes family's money. The only thing they fear more than money is public humiliation. If you stay silent, they win. They clear Valerie's name by painting you as the aggressor who needed to be disciplined." Liam leaned forward, placing his hand gently on Brenda's shoulder. "We can protect you. We frame this as an injustice story. A district sacrificing a 15-year veteran employee to appease a wealthy donor. You don't violate your leave if you're responding to a question about your character, which Valerie attacked first." Brenda looked at the exhausted, determined faces of the parents who had risked their own peace to stand up for her. She thought about Valerie Hayes standing over her, dripping poison. She thought about the double shifts, the bills, and the sheer exhausting dignity of her work being dismissed with a lie. "Fine," Brenda said, her voice steadying. "I'll talk. But I want them to know one thing. I wasn't defending myself. I was defending the yellow line. I was defending the rules that keep their kids safe." At Global Tech headquarters, Marcus Hayes was already in damage control. He had just finished a brutal call with a key investor, who had cited the bus driver incident as an example of unacceptable PR risk. Marcus had spent the entire morning demanding the school board issue a statement to publicly clear Valerie. His secretary buzzed. "Mr. Hayes, Mark Stevens from Channel 7 is on the line. He says he's calling for comment regarding the Maple Grove School District's suspension of a bus driver." Marcus smiled grimly. Stevens had taken the bait. "Put him through. Let's clean this up." He took the call, adopting the tone of the benevolent, concerned CEO. "Mr. Stevens, it's unfortunate, but my wife was the victim of an overly aggressive employee interaction. We are simply advocating for basic safety and professionalism. The district has taken appropriate disciplinary action to de-escalate, and we stand by their commitment to safety. This is a private matter, and I trust you won't sensationalize a minor personnel issue." Stevens's voice was calm, professional, and chillingly devoid of emotion. "I appreciate that, Mr. Hayes. Just to confirm, you feel the appropriate action was to discipline the driver who was falsely accused of a DUI offense and threatened with physical violence?" Marcus's composure cracked. She was placed on leave pending review? That is standard protocol! And can you confirm that your foundation donated nearly $500,000 to the Maple Grove School District Library Fund just 3 months ago? Stevens countered, the question a perfectly placed dagger. Marcus went cold. That is irrelevant. That is philanthropic giving to the entire community, and linking it to a minor disciplinary action is libelous. We'll let the viewers decide, Stevens said, and hung up. That evening, the world stopped for Valerie Hayes. She was hosting a small, strained dinner party for a few business associates Marcus had insisted on entertaining to project an image of normalcy. At 6:00 p.m., the screen in the high-tech kitchen flickered to the Channel 7 News logo. The lead story banner read, Bus Diplomacy, a school district trading integrity for dollars. The segment was devastatingly edited. It began with the viral video, high definition and full screen, showing Valerie's full, aggressive tirade. The moment she accused Brenda of drinking, the video froze, focusing on her contorted face. Then the narrative shifted. Mark Stevens appeared, grave and professional. He revealed the internal memo detailing Brenda's suspension. He then transitioned to an interview with Brenda, filmed discreetly at a neutral location. Brenda, wearing a simple cardigan, spoke with quiet, measured dignity. She didn't cry or beg. She just stated the facts, her eyes tired but firm. I follow the law. I follow the rules set by the district to protect the children, Brenda explained. The yellow line is there for a reason. When I was threatened and falsely accused in front of those kids, I knew I had to hold the line. It hurts to be suspended, but I did my job. And I'd do it again. The final blow came when Stevens connected the dots. The screen showed an overlay, Valerie's face, then the Bus 17 incident report, then a document detailing the Hayes Foundation donation. Mark Stevens, voiceover. The community of Maple Grove has to ask itself, when a driver defends the safety rules and the school district immediately retaliates after a complaint from a $500,000 donor, are those rules truly about safety or are they for sale? The dinner party was silent. Valerie stood frozen, a half-empty glass of Chardonnay slipping from her numb fingers. Then, Marcus's phone rang. It was his chief financial officer. Marcus stepped out, his voice a tight, frantic whisper. The board? The emergency session is now. They can't do that! I demand. He paused, listening. His hand, resting on the wall, slowly slid down, leaving a smudge. His face was utterly devoid of color, the rage replaced by profound, crippling terror. He re-entered the kitchen, the party guests staring at him. He looked at Valerie, not with anger, but with the cold, dead eyes of a man seeing the total destruction of his world. They didn't call about the PR risk, Valerie, Marcus said, his voice flat. One of our biggest clients, the state infrastructure contract, the one that makes up 30% of next year's revenue, just canceled. Effective immediately, they cited an intolerable erosion of public trust linked directly to this broadcast. It's over. End of Part 4. Karmic shock. Marcus's power and wealth, the engine of the cover-up, is instantly revoked as a direct consequence of the media expo.